what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Okay, brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Soul Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone that we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou spell thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We like to acknowledge the... Oh, you may be seated. Thank you, brother. We like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Captain Hakeem and the believers in Richmond. We have Brother Michael Shabazz in Arizona. We have Sister Hala Brooks from California. And we have Minister Isaac Muhammad in New York. And we have Brother Mustafa and Sister Sharice Ali from Ohio. Turn it down a little bit. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today we like to talk about Islam, the only salvation for the black man. Now we got to start with my favorite people. These are the black Hebrew Israelites. These are the enemies of Islam. Because what we must understand about the truth, everybody is not happy about the truth. Because the truth condemns the guilty. That's what we got to understand. Islam is our salvation. But some of us as black people hate the truth. Because we love wickedness. So we got the black Hebrew Israelites. They got a video that says, the Quran is only good for toilet paper. Muhammad no prophet. Islam not the black religion. The black man's religion. These are some strong words. To say that the Holy Quran is toilet paper. Now let's start with an article that was written by a woman named Alice Miller. It says, disrespect is the weapon of the weak. Yes. This all praise is due to Allah. We got to understand that. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said we should be happy that God has come. Yes. We should be happy that God has come and he chose us. Not only did God come and choose us, but God came and chose a messenger. He chose a messenger to teach and guide the black man. He didn't just come and tell us what the truth was. He gave us an example. He gave us somebody we can look to see what is right and what is wrong. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we should be happy. But he said, what does the truth do? He said it makes people jealous. He said because everybody wish that they were the ones that Allah gave his truth to. So in this article called Disrespect is the Weapon of the Weak, it says, what's the meaning of this quote? It says this quote suggests that disrespect is often employed as a means of asserting power or influence by individuals who feel powerless and inadequate. That's the first thing we need to understand when we're talking about the truth. It's a certain type of respect you're supposed to have for the truth. When I was in the military, I spent 7 years in the white man's military. One of the first principles we learned was respect. Because what they used to tell us is brothers on the street think being tough and disrespectful is what makes you a man. But when you become a soldier, the first thing they teach you is how to respect. How to respect those in authority over you. Yes. So when you watch old military movies, you always see the drill sergeant in the private's face. Talking crazy. This happened as soon as you get off the bus. I remember when I first went to boot camp. The instructors be so nice and friendly. Say, oh, I'm glad you joined the United States Marine Corps. I'm happy to have you. Talking about when they was home, what they like to do. But it seemed like as soon as the bus pull on base, the whole mood changed on the bus. You thought he was your friend. Soon as the bus pull on base, that's when it started getting for real. Because most people used to hear who he think he talking to. Because we think being hard and tough is what makes you a man. So the drill instructors tell us, I'm only going to tell you this one time. He telling about 50 or 30 people one thing one time, and you got to remember what he said and do exactly what he telling you to do. That's how we learn respect. That's how we learn to be disciplined. That's how you learn to rise above your emotions. Because the messenger says the truth hurts the guilty.
That's right.
The black man has been in the hands of an enemy for 400 years. The black man has taught to be other than his own self. The white man taught us to eat hog. When you look at Kunta Kinte, when he first was given hog, they had to force feed the black man hog. But after 400 years under the white man, you begin to like hog. You begin to like ribs, pork chops. You begin to like fat back. So now when the truth comes, you hate the truth because you love the hog. They used to have to force us to not be married. They made it against the law for the black man to be married. They made it against the law for us to be husbands and fathers to our wives and children. So we began to get used to that. We began to be enjoying to be promiscuous. Got a whole lot of women. Whole lot of children we ain't taking care of. So when the truth comes, we hate the truth. That's how it happens with Islam. Islam is the only salvation for the black man. Islam came to us to save us from the coming destruction of the white man. Now, I want to give a few examples when we talk about how disrespect is a weapon for the weak. We want to talk about some things about the Nation of Islam that we hardly ever talk about. Because people don't never give the Nation of Islam the credit for what we deserve. These fakes said the Quran is only good for toilet paper. Muhammad is no prophet, and Islam is not the black man's salvation. Now let's go to Muhammad Ali. Because I know a lot of brothers like boxing. Let's go to boxing before the Nation of Islam was a part of boxing. This is an article or a book that's called Mob Coercion and Boxing. The Ernie Terrell Muhammad Ali fight, March 1966. This was when Muhammad Ali was fighting a black man named Ernie Terrell. The article says, the denial of New York as the venue of the Ernie Terrell Muhammad Ali heavyweight fight led to the mob beating of Terrell's manager, Bernard Glickman. He entered federal custody soon after being nearly beaten to death in his Chicago residence in February of 1966. We never think about that when we think about boxing. We never think about that when we think about Muhammad Ali. Because when Muhammad Ali first became a boxer, or the heavyweight champion of the world, boxing was controlled by the Italian mafia. We don't even talk about that. The Italian mafia nearly beat Ernie Terrell's manager to death just because they changed the venue from New York to somewhere else. We never even think about that. But Muhammad Ali, when he became a Muslim, when he became to represent Islam, that's when boxing changed. All praise is due to Allah. Boxing changed when the messenger of Allah had a Muslim who was different from Ernie Terrell. Because one of those things that the white man taught us, the messenger said he put fear in us when we was babies, causing us to fear the white man. The messenger said the white man would take a pregnant black woman in front of all the slaves, take a black man and tie 2 horses on his arms and feet. He said they would beat the horses to where they would rip the black woman's apart. When the baby fell out of her stomach, the slave master would stomp the baby's head with his boot heel, putting fear in all the rest of the slaves of the white man. But the messenger says, God came, and that Islam is our only salvation. He said Islam will unite the black man. So when you saw Muhammad Ali become the heavyweight champion of the world, the white man had never seen nothing like that before in his life. A black man who was disciplined. A black man who feared no one but Allah. Because in this article, it says Ernie Terrell was a Chicago boxer who was notoriously controlled by the mafia. Notoriously controlled. We look at these brothers and see how big and how strong they are. We'll look at Tony Terrell, how you the heavyweight champion? And you look at some of these mob bosses be looking like they 4 or 5 feet tall. Taking the heavyweight champ, he 230 pounds. Pound for pound. But this little 4-foot devil taking his money. We never even think about that. So this was the boxer named Ernie Terrell. Then you had the boxer named Sonny Liston. Another big brother. Another big heavyweight champ. This was Sonny Liston's, this was his promoter. It says the main mobster behind Liston was Frankie Carbone, a feared hitman for Murder Inc. and a member of the Lucci crime family, headed by Gaetano Three-Finger Brown Lucci. After spending 2 decades as a murder machine for the mob, Carbone had enough and began focusing on a gentler racket. Could you imagine that? You a boxer. As your promoter, they put a killing machine who spent 20 years as a hitman for the mob. We never even think about that. But then when this hitman saw Muhammad Ali as the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali had the newspaper said, Allah is the greatest. That's something that we never even think about. We don't think about how Allah, through his messenger, showed us how Islam is the only salvation for the black man. Yes, sir. For the first time, the white man saw a whole new black man. They didn't see this. Now, Muhammad Ali ain't even as big as Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was bigger than Muhammad Ali. From what Muhammad Ali say, he was stronger than Muhammad Ali. So what was different about Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston? When Muhammad Ali first came and accepted his own, he became Cassius X. White man's antennas went up. This nigga don't want our name no more. Something different about this nigga than Sonny Liston. He might not be physically strong as Liston, but he more mentally strong than Sonny Liston. He understand that Cassius Clay is a slave now. Then they see Muhammad Ali. He don't walk in the ring by himself. He got what is called the fruit of Islam. Praise to Allah. Now, Frankie Carbone say, wait a minute. Not only is he changing his name, he got more tough-looking niggas with him. It's something different about this Cassius Clay than Sonny Liston. Then when the white man saw Muhammad Ali before his fights, not praying to Jesus, praying to Allah. Yes. Something different about this nigga. He ain't praying to a spook. He ain't praying to a God that he don't see. He's praying to the true and living God. Yes, sir. That's what they saw with Muhammad Ali. So this is what Muhammad Ali's trainer said about him. He said Ali has seen how fighters before him had been sponsored, managed, and exploited by the mafia thugs, said David Remnick, writes in the New Yorker. He remembered from childhood how Joe Lewis's handlers, gave him a set of rules to avoid alienating the white American. He said Ali refused to go down like that. It says if he was going to become a boxing superstar, he need to do it his way. To achieve that, he needed a little help. The Nation of Islam provided Ali with the type of muscle he himself lacked. That's what the white man saw. Because this article that we read, this wasn't written by Muslims. This was written by Gangsters Inc. 2016. See, we got these brothers who think they tough because they disrespecting the message. But as the woman say, disrespect is a weapon for the weak.
Yes, sir.
That's what it is. Because if in 2016, Italians can remember that almost 60 years ago, Muhammad Ali took boxing. It's difference between taking something and having something given to you. This says how Muhammad Ali took the heavyweight boxing championship from the Italian mafia. Then they write about it. Because the messenger taught us the only true brotherhood we will have is Islam. The only way a brother would have love for a brother and a sister will have love for a sister is through Islam.
Yes.
Because Muhammad Ali and all them brothers didn't learn this type of brotherhood on their own. They learned it because the messenger is the example.
Yes.
God didn't just come and tell us that Islam is our salvation. He left us an example. Muhammad Ali saw how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to fight for Islam. The messenger wasn't just up here teaching us. The messenger told us that his hard trials are necessary to establish truth.
Yes.
That's when it comes to us. But when it comes to him as the messenger, he got to be the example for all of us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when Master Farad Muhammad chose him, he had to try him so that we could know the price for being a Muslim. We had to see the messenger go through it to see how Allah would bring us through. Because all the messenger had was Allah himself. This is a picture of the messenger. In 1942, being picked up by the FBI, long before there was a big FOI, long before there was a big economic program, because for Muhammad Ali, even though it's hard to stand up to the mafia, but it's a little more easy when you got backup. It's a little more easy. It's a little more easy to stand up to Frankie Carbone when you know that the messenger been doing this for 20-some years and he been successful. When you know that the FOI done check mob bosses all the time. They done did this before. So now they give you a little bit more courage to stand up to the white man yourself. But think about the messenger. He was the first one to sacrifice for Islam.
Yes.
He was the first one that Allah tried. And the messenger was a human being like me and you. The messenger had a family. The messenger had children. He was like me and you. What man wouldn't want to be a father to his children? What man wouldn't want to see their children grow up and become teenagers, young adults? But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to sacrifice all that to teach Islam.
Yes.
We got to think about that. So then, let's go even further than that. The article says, Ali understood strength. Dr. Freddie Pacquiao, Ali's corner man and personal physician, explained. He said, just like Sonny Liston understood the mafia, Ali understood that you do not F with black Muslims. This the Italian. He even understood 60 years later. Because the thing about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that's so phenomenal is no matter how much we try, we just can't duplicate what he did. No matter how much we try, no matter how many hypocrites we like, we just can't do like the messenger did. The messenger took the black man from the mud and made him internationally respected. Muhammad Ali, for the first time, could go to Muslim countries and have parades in the streets when the black man in America couldn't even drink at the same water fountain with the white man. We don't even think about that. Malcolm X, in 1959, went to Mecca. His trip to Mecca, he wrote, I believe it was in the Pittsburgh Carrier, or it was some black magazine. He was talking about when he went to Egypt. Now this 8th grade education Malcolm, this Detroit Red Malcolm, he went to Egypt, to Al-Azhar University. He said they was treating him like he was a dignitary. He said he sat at some of the top heads of states' houses. They opened their doors to him. All because he was a follower of the messenger. We never think about that. We never think about the respect the Honorable Elijah Muhammad give us. I remember when I first got married. Me being a Muslim, when I used to go to the store, I used to get attention because Muslims look different. But when I got married, it was a whole different thing. I remember the first time we went to Kroger's. We were just running in there to get something and coming out after the temple. The reaction that people had are just saying we were just walking through and it be so strong that you gotta act like you don't see the people looking at you. It be so many people just looking like, wow. So we standing in the line. This lady came up to me and was like, I thank y'all just for doing what you do. Y'all keep doing. She don't know us from Adam. We got on the uniform the Muslim gave us to wear. We practicing the teachings that he taught us to practice. So we look different. We got a different kind of glow about us. That's different from everybody else. And everybody see it. Just like everybody saw it with Muhammad Ali. It's something different about him. Even though Sonny Liston is stronger than him, it's something different about him. That's Islam. Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now let's go even further than that. Because we want to give another example before we get into the lecture. This comes from the April 15th, 1967 Pittsburgh Carrier. When you look at this picture, there's a picture of a FOI having to walk away or being rolled away in a stretcher. It says shot in a scuffle. Theophilus X, a black Muslim newspaper salesman, is shown being carried from an Oklahoma, Nebraska courtroom last week after being shot during a scuffle with two policemen. According to witnesses, Theophilus was shot in the neck and thigh as he grabbed the revolver of the detective during an appearance in municipal court. Another thing that goes over our head. What Muslims had to do to be Muslims. Because the messenger taught us we supposed to fight for Islam. Yes. We supposed to fight for the brotherhood and fight to protect our women. That's what the messenger taught. Yes. We supposed to fight. So you see this brother fighting 2 police. It say he was shot when he grabbed one of the police revolvers. We don't even think about that kind. That's what it meant to be a FOI. That's what it meant to be a follower of the message. That's how we get to where we are today. Because of their sacrifice. Yes. They was the first examples to us about how Islam is the salvation for the black man. Islam is our only salvation. But we got to fight. We can't just sit around and think we gonna get something out of Islam when we don't put nothing in. You only get out of Islam what you put into Islam. Messenger said nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Now let's get into the lecture. Because the brother said that the Holy Quran is toilet paper. Let's look at that. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He taught us that Allah gave him the knowledge of both books, Bible and Holy Quran. Because before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to teach us, Jews rejected the New Testament and Christians rejected the Old Testament. Because in the New Testament, it talks about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Christians accept that, but Jews reject that. In the New Testament, Jesus said, upon this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. The Christians accepted that, but the Jews didn't. Because the Jews rejected Jesus and said he wasn't no prophet at all. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught us the truth of the Bible. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the one who took the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Holy Quran and showed the black man his history in both. We got to remember that. Yes. When you see black Hebrew Israelites standing on the corner trying to teach the black man, we should ask, where did you get that from? And this is actually disrespect to the messenger. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the first black man in America who actually taught the black man something. When you look at the Nation of Islam, we got the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. We got Message to the Black Man. We got Fall of America. We have Our Savior Has Arrived. We have How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and Book 2. We have Supreme Wisdom, Book 1 and Book 2. The messenger has Final Call to Islam that came out in 1934. Plus the messenger was writing articles in the Pittsburgh Carrier, Amsterdam News, New York Age. He was the one who God chose to teach the black man. Yes, sir. It was nobody else. Because in the Holy Quran, the Holy Quran prophesies of Allah raising a messenger for the black man. Yes. Most black people don't even know that. Because you got these kind of black people who would tell the black man that Islam or the Quran is toilet paper. But the Quran has just as many prophecies as the Bible, talking about the black man. Yes. Both books talk about the same people. Not only do we have the Bible and Holy Quran, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about Freemasonry. Freemasonry is how the Masons hide the truth of the black man. Because the Bible is how the Jew and the Christian hide the truth from the black man. But the Masonic order is how the white man hides the truth from the black man. The messenger taught us about Hiram Abiff long before you had a black Hebrew Israelite. Yes. Because just like you have stories in the Bible about the lost sheep, you got stories in the Bible about the prodigal son. You got stories in the Bible about Lazarus. You got stories in the Bible about Jesus being hung on a cross on Calvary. You also have them same kind of stories in Mason. You also had them same kind of teachings in the Holy Quran. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said that the white race is a crafted race of people. Yes. He said they were given 6,000 years to rule the black man. So he said when the prophets came with the truth, they couldn't tell the black man straight truth. They had to talk in signs and symbols. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that if the white man was to teach us the truth, he would be hastening his own doom. He said it would be like him taking a knife and slitting his own throat. So for 6,000 years, the truth of the black man was put in signs and symbols. So let's get to the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 129, it says, our Lord, and raised up in them a messenger from among them, who shall recite to them thy message, and teach them the book and the wisdom, and purify them. So this is the Holy Quran, giving us 5 characteristics of a messenger that's to be raised among the black man. Because in the Holy Quran, Abraham prayed that Allah would raise a messenger for the black man. So he said he wanted Allah to raise them up a messenger from among them. That's number 1. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was raised up among the black man. Yes. Number 2, it says, who shall recite for them thy message? Yes. That's the message. One of the messages of Allah. Which one will survive the war of Armageddon? That's one of the most important messages that Allah came to bring. Which one will survive the war of Armageddon? Islam or Christianity? That's one of the messages of Allah. Another qualification. It says, and teach them the book and the wisdom. Some people might say that's talking about Prophet Muhammad. Let's talk about that for a minute. Because Abraham prayed that Allah would send a message to the black man. A messenger who would teach them the book and the wisdom. Let's look and see if it's Prophet Muhammad. This talks about the revelation of the Quran. This comes from metmuseum.org. It says Muslims believe that the Quran, the holy book of Islam, was revealed to Muhammad over a 23-year period. That's the first fact. The Holy Quran was not the Holy Quran during the time of the time of Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad would get a piece now. Then a few months he'd get another piece. Then he might get another piece next year. It took 23 years for Prophet Muhammad to get the revelation of the Holy Quran. So there was no book. The revelations, I believe, started with Prophet Muhammad when he was 40. It stopped when he was 63. The last revelation he got was the last year he was alive. Let's go on even further than that. It says, after Prophet Muhammad's death, his successors compiled these divine revelations in a manuscript. That's very important for us to know. Because one, during the time of Prophet Muhammad, there was no Quran. So if there was no Quran, Prophet Muhammad gave them no interpretation of the Quran. Prophet Muhammad wasn't a Sunni. Prophet Muhammad wasn't a Shiite. Prophet Muhammad wasn't a Sufi. He wasn't an Ahmadiyya. There was no interpretation. Because after he got the last revelation, he died. Yes. That's what we need to know. Yes, sir. Because we got a lot of Orthodox Muslims and all these old jealous Negroes, niggas, and colored boys who tell the Muslims in the Nation of Islam. Real Muslims don't even accept the Nation of Islam. If Prophet Muhammad gave no interpretation of the Quran, what's a real Muslim? If Prophet Muhammad wasn't a Sunni, if Prophet Muhammad wasn't a Shiite, he wasn't a Sufi, how can they tell us what a true Muslim is? So let's go on even further. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the book that is talking about in this verse is the Bible. The Bible is that book. Because the one thing that we must understand, we got to go back to 1555. Because from 1555 to 1934, the black man had nobody to teach him. So for 379 years, the black man was made deaf, dumb, and blind. Yes. The first step in making us deaf, dumb, and blind was when John Hawkins stole a boatload of black people and took them to Jamestown, Virginia. He took them on the good ship Jesus. This was the first process, the messenger says, to make us physical slaves. We always got to remember that. John Hawkins, in 1555, in Jamestown, Virginia, started the process of putting the black man in physical slavery. Then after that, we got another white man named King James. King James put us in mental slavery. That's right. With his King James version of the Bible. This is what King James did. This is what Abraham saw. Because Allah revealed to him that the black man would be a stranger in a land that is not theirs for 400 years.
That's right.
That's what the Bible says.
That's right.
But the Quran says that after Abraham knew this, he prayed to Allah to raise up among my seed a messenger who would teach them the book and the wisdom.
Yes, sir.
Praise due to Allah. Now, what does it mean when it says the book and the wisdom? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said when King James wrote the Bible, he wrote the Bible in a language that a slave would not understand. That's what we gotta remember when we talking about these Negroes, niggas, and colored boys. Because I'm gonna be PG with Bus Stop Bishop and them today. I'm gonna say Negroes, niggas, and colored boys. So when you see these Negroes, niggas, and colored boys out here talking against the Holy Quran, but then they talking about the Bible was written by Israelites for Israelites. That's what they do to try to counter the Nation of Islam. Now that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad done taught us, he taught us who the original man is. He taught us who God is. He taught us everything we needed to know about the Bible and Holy Quran. So now you got fakes that will take his interpretation and add it to their lives. But what we always need to understand is that King James didn't write the Bible for us in 2022 or 2024. He wrote the Bible for a slave. He wrote the Bible for the same people who John Hawkins made mentally dead or put them in physical slavery. Them was the ones who he wrote the Bible for. The King James Bible came out in 1611.
That's right.
It didn't come out in 2024. It came out in 1611. And he wrote it in a language that a slave wouldn't understand. So he taught us about the Garden of Eden. He said there was a serpent in the Garden of Eden. He taught us there was some trees that had the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden. What does slave know about that? Messenger said King James had poets to write the Bible.
That's right.
He said a poet says one thing but means something else.
Yes.
When it talks about a serpent in the Bible, that's poetic language. It's saying one thing, but it's meaning something else. When it's talking about a tree that has the knowledge of good and evil, that's saying one thing, but it's meaning something else.
Yes.
So when the Bible is talking about the serpent, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us to look at the characteristics. Look at the characteristics of a serpent. A serpent is cunning. A serpent is crooked. A serpent has a forked tongue.
Yes.
What people have those characteristics? Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that the white man talks with a forked tongue. He said he'll talk with you and speak one word of truth and follow it up with 1,000 words of lies.
Yes.
That's the white man. Because this knowledge of good and evil, that's also talking about the devil. Because the messenger says no tree has the knowledge of good and evil. But that's symbolic language. That's how King James had the truth from the black man.
Yes, sir.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said that when you read in the Bible, and it talks about a serpent, it talks about a beast, it talks about a dragon. He said all these things is talking about the white race.
That's right.
But we can't just say it's the white race, because it said it represents Yaqub and the white race.
Yes.
Because a lot of time with these hypocrites, because I'm trying to be PG today, but we got hypocrites. We got a chief hypocrite. The chief hypocrite's name is Louis Farrakhan.
That's him.
He the chief hypocrite.
Yes.
So the chief hypocrite, he don't talk about Yaqub, the black scientist who crafted the white race from the black man. He be talking with a forked tongue now. He'll speak one word of Elijah and follow that one word with 1,000 words of lies.
That's what he's doing.
Because he's a hypocrite.
Yes.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that Yaqub grafted the white race as a race of devils. He said they are 100% wicked and evil.
Yes.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said, can you reform that? But this hypocrite, Louis Eugene Walcott, he want to make the black man think we can reform the death. That's the kind of hypocrite he is.
Yes.
Because this hypocrite, he don't say nothing to bust out Bishop when they dog in the message. This hypocrite get Nuri, get Reza Islam, get Ben X to tell the black man that's religious gangbang. That's what that hypocrite said. But when that hypocrite heard that his boyfriend was being slandered in the pub, that no good hypocrite put him on the front page. But he ain't got nothing to say for the message. Because he's a hypocrite.
That's him, brother.
We ain't got no love for a hypocrite.
No.
Let's go on even further with this forked tongue. Lying little snake. You also got O.L. Ron Hubbard. The old snake. The messenger used to call Muslims who turned hypocrite. That old snake in the grass. He said we got to be careful because that snake biting the heels of Muslims now.
That's what he said.
It's Muslims who love this hypocrite. When I look at all them brothers they got down there with Brother Troy, I just say it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. You mean to tell me we believe in the teachings of the message? We believe he the last and the greatest messenger. What does it mean when you say the last and the greatest messenger? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that no other prophet in the last 6,000 years met God and talked to him face to face. No other prophet. That's why he the last and the greatest messenger. Because he telling us directly from Allah's mouth.
Yes.
So you mean to say, we Muslims, we are sitting listening to these niggas. Got to say it. Because that's what they are. We'll listen to them disrespect the message. Tell the black man the Quran is good for toilet paper. But I believe the messenger, he the last and the greatest messenger. He told us that the Quran is the greatest book. Got more truth in it than any book. was the Quran. Not only do they say that the Quran is good for toilet paper, because just think, what do you use toilet paper for? Then they say that Muhammad ain't even a messenger or a prophet. Then they say Islam is not the black man's salvation. Who told us that Islam was the black man's salvation? The messenger. Didn't no Sunniist Muslim tell us that Islam is our salvation? Wasn't no Sunnis with Muhammad Ali? When Frankie Carbone saw Muhammad Ali, he ain't see no Sunnis. He ain't see no Shiites. He saw Muslims who believed in the message.
That's right.
But you gonna tell me Farrakhan ain't a hypocrite? Not only did he speak up for his boyfriend, Father Flake, a white man who got a black church, a white man who was accused of molesting black children.
That's right.
But this snake, this hypocrite, he spoke up for him.
He did.
And the rest of them who was selling them papers only made they self manifest.
Yes.
Messenger told us about a hypocrite. He said most hypocrites pretend to believe. But when you look at them, they ain't nothing but sympathizers with the hypocrites. If you was out there selling that paper, you suspect.
That's right.
So then you got this hypocrite, L. Ron Hubbard. When he heard black people had a problem with L. Ron Hubbard, what did Snake do? He get out there and defend L. Ron Hubbard. But when it comes to the message, let's show the picture of these hypocrites. We got to talk about what Nuri said. Nuri ain't got nothing to say. But Nuri got 7 books done. That's what hypocrites do. Islam ain't good to defend, but it's good enough for me to commercialize. Let me go around the black man being the big nigga. I got the book. Come buy my book. Resist or Ben X. I'm the virtual real estate man. What about the message? The last and the greatest message of Allah. We ain't got nothing to say for them. That's why the messenger talked about the truth. Everybody don't love the truth. The truth hurts the guilty.
Yes, sir.
That's why you have so many people jealous of the message. This hypocrite Louis Eugene jealous of the message. When the messenger was alive, he said some of these hypocrites want my place. He said, but if they get it, they wouldn't know what to do with it. This hypocrite got the messenger's place. He don't know what to do with it. In the 80s, he started adding in all that Orthodox Islam, because he did not know what to do with it. Then he started talking about the black man is the true Jew, because he don't know what to do. He went to Dianetics, because he don't know what to do. Allah just chose what?
That's right. He
told him face to face for 3.5 years. Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us one of my favorite stories. He said when Master Farad Muhammad was among them, he had a room full of his ministers. He said, I want all y'all to choose who y'all think would be my supreme minister. Messenger said all the brothers started choosing. The messenger knew he only had a 3rd grade education. He used to say I was too dumb. The messenger knew his condition. But all them jealous ones, they start picking the brother that they think like Farrakhan. Brother didn't know how to talk real good. Let's choose him. Let's choose the brother we think like Malcolm X. Let's choose the other one who we think like Wallace. Then the messenger said, Master Farah Muhammad said, okay, I done let you choose. Now I'm about to choose. He said, I choose you, Elijah Kareem. That was God himself. So when we see this hypocrite, they ain't cut from the same cloth as the messenger. Messenger was giving his life for Islam. They won't even say nothing but stop bishop. But stop bishop and them Israelites ain't never bust a grape. Where they Muhammad Ali? Where they Malcolm X? When you go look at them brothers that's in IUIC Detroit, go look at them brothers. Brothers got big wild hair, big dirty germ catching beards. Then I say, Troy, you got all them brothers and you would let them talk about the messenger like that? No, that's a hypocrite.
Yes.
We need to learn the signs of hypocrites. Messenger said hypocrites got characteristics.
That's right.
One of the characteristics of a hypocrite is they not satisfied with what the messenger taught. So when Farrakhan add in Scientology, they happy with that. Because they ain't satisfied with what the messenger taught. When he started talking about Aaron Hubbard, they happy with that. Because they not satisfied with what the messenger taught. But when you see Nur, he going to say all praise is due to Allah like you. He going to say the most honorable Elijah Muhammad like you. That's why the messenger taught us the characteristics. The messenger saw Farrakhan. He saw Farrakhan in his prime. When I listened to Farrakhan in his prime, he was untouchable.
That's right.
I like listening to Farrakhan more than I like listening to Malcolm when he was with the message. He used to teach Islam. Malcolm used to teach all that politics. Farrakhan used to teach Islam. But the message, being the messenger of God, he know the characteristics. He say Islam ain't what you say. Islam is what you practice.
That's it.
So he saw Farrakhan as one of his best ministers. Got a good gift of gab. But them laborers say, you even hear this hypocrite Louis Farrakhan talk about it. He don't talk about it because he's so honest. He talk about it because there was other laborers in the room that heard the message. Messenger said there's going to be another hypocrite rising up through the ranks. He going to make Malcolm's work look like child's play.
That's right.
He said that he's the master of the English language. Farrakhan said they all thought it was me. No, they knew it was you. That's the word to the wise. Every believer should read that article by the messenger called The Friendship of Allah. You should read it and you should cherish it. The messenger said our only friend is Allah. We have no other friend but him. Then after Allah, those who believe. But the first two friends we have is Allah and his messenger.
Yes.
Those are our only friends. You can't trust Farrakhan. You can't trust Ben X or Nur. Only one you can trust. All praise is due to Allah. It's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Well, brothers and sisters, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Soul Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone that we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou spell thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship, or praised besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.